Using GitHub can be very useful if you want to back up your website, store files online, make backups of projects, keep track of code. For many different reasons, people all over the world use GitHub to back up their work, particularly coding, documents, images, and website environments. We're going to do this today for a very basic website. We're going to push files to what's known as a GitHub repository. Our website looks like this. The folder structure is just as simple. It's a basic website with a CSS, IMG, JS folder and an index HTML. In order to push to GitHub, all you need to do is make an account, then go to the new repository page. On this page, you give your repository a name. I'll call this a basic website. You can give it a description. Whatever you're pushing, you can write a little message just to let people know what the website is or the application is about or the code base. People just push code files to GitHub as well, not just websites. You can make it public or private. Private used to cost money. I hear that now GitHub is making private repositories available, but it's easy to just leave your repositories as public. There's less hassle and no complications. If you want to use private to protect some intellectual property within your code or your ideas, you can select that. You may have to pay for an account or go through some further steps. It also says, would you like to initialize a README? A README is what's known as an information file. Each repository you make can have a README file which tells other users and coders what your repository is, how to use it, how to install it, how to download and navigate through it. A README file is made with something called MD, which is Markdown. READMEs aren't mandatory. We won't be making one today, but if you want to make one, I suggest you give it a go and learn the MD language. It's very simple, much more simple than HTML. For today, we won't be making a README. I'm just going to click on Create Repository. GitHub then sets up a repository online and takes you to this page. Now, this code that I'm highlighting is what you can use to make your repository and push code and files, updates, backups to the repository directly from your computer. The code that's highlighted in blue uses something called the command line. We won't be using the command line today, but if you want to test yourself or improve in GitHub and web development and coding, it's a useful practice to learn the command line. If you spend a little bit of time on it, it starts to become very familiar. You just need to know a couple of commands and you can do things very quickly when making new folders, files, and pushing to servers like GitHub. This is the main repository setup page. What I'm going to do is click on Upload an existing file. Now, when you're beginning or if you're a learner, GitHub also allows you to add files to your repository by doing drag and drop. That's what we're going to do today. All you have to do is get your folder structure in front of the web browser, highlight all the files you want, and drag them on like that. GitHub will then do an upload process directly in the browser. It will play out in front of you, and it will confirm what has been uploaded to the repository. After you've done that, you can put a commit comment within the GitHub system. I'm just going to write here our first commit, and then I'm going to click on commit changes. GitHub will then process your files. It's setting up the repository, and after a small amount of time you've set up your first repository and you've got files which are stored and backed up online. So this means if you ever need this website, if you need to use it, the last time that you push, which is a GitHub term, pushing files means sending the files to GitHub. The last time you push, you'll have a backup of that push, and you can clone or download that by going to that tab there and download zip. It will give you your project in a zip file. Another thing we can do on GitHub, which is really useful, is we can go to settings, and we can make our website publicly available like it's on a real server. Now you can do this with HTML, JavaScript, CSS files only. You can't do it with database and backend coding systems like PHP or C#. And what you do is you just go down to the section here under settings called GitHub Pages. You go down to source and you click on none and switch it to what's known as the master branch. After that happens, the page reloads. You can scroll back down to that section and you will see now that it gives you a link. Your site is ready to be published at this link. If I click on this link, you will see it takes me here to a web page that displays this is a basic website and my basic web page. GitHub Pages is a very useful tool. So is GitHub. You can store your work, you can keep backups, you can have real immediate prototype websites displayed for clients. It's free. It's a very good place to store your code.